so much. Okay, our next talk is from Nayan Patel, who's going to talk to us about a data-driven model for predicting NCAA D1 hockey game outcomes. Nayan is a third-year undergraduate student studying for a bachelor's in economics with a minor in statistics at that school up the road, Ohio State. He serves as the co-vice president for the OSU Sports Analytics Club. Outside of analytics, he enjoys working with sports video and media. He works for the OSU Athletics Department in Video Services and was also a Columbus Blue Jackets video production intern for the past 2 years. In his free time, he enjoys watching sports, playing hockey in the Columbus Area Adult League. You're clearly in a higher league than I am. And DJing. Please join me in welcoming Nayan. Would you prefer PDF or PowerPoint? PDF or PowerPoint?
Let's do PowerPoint.
Okay, perfect. Oh, it closed. JK. There we go.
Thanks so much. How's everybody doing? As Allison mentioned, my name is Nayan Patel. As she said, I'm a student at OSU, as well as being an intern here with the Blue Jackets in video production. Shout out to my colleagues down there in the video room for helping with the YouTube stream today. And in line with that, I wanted to, for this presentation, do sort of a, analytics hype video, with pyrotechnics and the whole shebang, 9 yards. It was denied for unknown reasons. I don't know why. So you'll have to deal with just my boring slides instead. Pre-game prediction models for hockey. So basically, what are they? They're designed to predict any game that it could occur using past data. They use techniques such as regression and gradient boosting. There's a lot of different across-the-board techniques that people use, and they achieve a very similar success rate from method to method. It's just different ways of going about it. Some examples include Peter Tanner from moneypuck.com. His is very good. My model is actually very similar to his, as you'll see, as well as Dom from The Athletic has a game score value added model. No matter how many times I watch that YouTube video of him pronouncing his name over and over again, I'm never going to get that last name. So I'm sorry for that if he's watching. So what's the big problem with the NCAA is that, as Hannah was mentioning earlier, there's just a lack of available data compared from the NHL to the NCAA. There's just really, there's no shot location data, there's no shift data, there's no time on ice data, and a lot of this stuff is very important for calculating a lot of the metrics that are used in certain models. So what I tried to do was basically try to emulate the same thing, but for the NCAA. So what I did was I built my model using ridge regression. It's a type of linear regression designed just to help deal with outlier coefficients. And I trained it using data from 2014 to 15 to last year's season. That's as far back as the data goes. Hopefully, as we keep playing more seasons, the data will get better and we'll have more to look at. And it uses a variety of team metrics to basically predict winning percentage is what I'm doing, calculate an expected winning percentage. So what we did was basically take that and try and calculate if a certain team would perform this well in certain metrics, what would we think their winning percentage would be over the season? And this season, we have about a 64% success rate of predicting games. Unfortunately, ties are a thing in the NCAA still, so I wasn't able to include that based on how my model works. Hopefully, I will be able to do that as we keep going. So here's just a little graph showing this season what our actual win percent compared to our expected win percent. And as you can see, it does a pretty good job at minimizing error, pretty good at keeping it good straight line, linear. And so this is kind of what my model would output, is it would take that expected winning percentage and I use it to create win probabilities for every game. So these are games from yesterday, actually, last night. And as you can see, it basically just tries to predict who's going to win. They're very simple. And so going into that, the components are very, as I'll show you here, it's very similar to Peter Tanner and how he uses it to basically find which coefficients and which metrics are most important and trying to predict that winning percentage. So first, I have a goal efficiency metric. I borrowed this idea from Ken Pomeroy, who does college basketball statistics, actually. And this is basically at its raw form, it's just goals for or against divided by your Corsi for or against times 100. I just did times 100 just to get a nice rounder number. And I use it as a just low quality replacement for expected goals. A lot of these models in the NHL that try to predict games use expected goals. As shows, it has a very predictive power. And this goal efficiency metric that I use is a proxy for it because it does answer the question, how good are you at scoring goals compared to the threat you generate. It doesn't obviously have the same amount of nuance as expected goals does, so it obviously doesn't perform as well, but it serves for the time being as a very useful statistic. And I also adjust it for strength of schedule, so you don't see teams that blow out poor competition completely go through. Also, I use Corsi for percentage, very simple. I use it only calculated when the game is within a goal, or close Corsi for percentage, show to have the most predictive power. And then finally, I use shot and save percentage. These are luck driven, so it's not very useful at evaluating teams, but it's very useful for trying to predict games, basically, as the teams that have very high shot and save percentage win games more often than not. And so what's next for this model? First, when I set out to do this, I wanted to do both men's and women's. Unfortunately, right now, we have a question on whether certain teams in the women's league have a D1 status, so I'm trying to get that worked out right now. So right now I only have men's rankings and predictions, but hopefully I'm trying to get women's here up soon, and that's definitely a goal of mine. And then also just some adjustments to improve the model. Things like home ice advantage. I want to try and quantify and see if there is a home ice advantage in the NCAA like there is in the NHL. And also trying to weigh recent results more, which is shown to also have more predictive power. And thank you guys so much for listening. And if you want to see my full results, they're at my website, hockeyanalytics.com. Thanks, Allison and everybody, for presenting. Thank you.